How can you spend a day at Walt Disney World and make sure that you're not being a jerk? Well, today we're going to find out. Let's hop into it. Welcome to today's episode of the Parkhop. My name's Jacob. If you've ever been to Walt Disney World, or any theme park for that matter, then you know that it is not the place to be if you have any type of crowd anxiety. Everywhere you go, there's a mass of people in front of you and behind you and to the left and right of you. And if you're on the second row of Soarin', even above and below you. Now, one of the first things that people tend to do when they get into a large crowd is forget how to be a person. You know, somebody who interacts with and lives around other people on a regular basis. For whatever reason, people act completely differently in a crowd than they would if they were just around a few other people. Or at least I hope so. I mean, certainly people can't act like that every day. And I'm not innocent here. I'm as guilty as anybody of crowd-induced rudeness. But I think for most of us, those things are just momentary acts of thoughtlessness. They're just moments where we forget that we're supposed to be treating people with kindness. And then when we think about it, we're kind of sorry we did it. And because I like to think that people aren't at their best when they're trying to navigate a crowd of thousands, I thought it would just be good if you and I had a little heart-to-heart and talked over the 5 ways to not be a jerk at Walt Disney World. Now trust me, if you follow these rules, you'll still have a good time, and you'll also ensure that you're not the reason that someone else doesn't. And you're also going to be less likely to have your Dole Whip poisoned when you're not looking. Number 1, don't line jump. Now, we have all known since like the first grade lunch line that cutting is a big no-no. And just because you paid $100 to get in doesn't mean that you can just wander up to the front while the rest of us sit here and wait when the line for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run is 6 hours long, or worse. And yeah, it's rare that you just see somebody kind of wander up with no pretense, but people cut in pretty much every line that you enter in the parks, and it usually happens in one of 2 forms. First, there's what I like to call the tag team. This is when one person gets in line for a ride that they really have no intention at all of riding. When the rest of their group finishes whatever other thing they were doing, they find their way to that person who had gone in line ahead of them. That person then taps out and goes on to start the process over in another queue. Now, this isn't the most common form of line jumping because it's so egregious, it tends to really only work where much of the line is outside, like Flight of Passage, or open to some other common area. No, the more common line jumper is what I like to call the missing family member. The missing family member is similar to the tag team, but nobody ever leaves the line at any point, and there's usually only 1 or 2 people trying to screw the rest of us. And you know it's about to happen to you when you hear someone saying,
"Sorry, excuse me,"
multiple times in the line behind you. And if you ask that person where they're going, they always say the same thing. "Oh, I have to get up to my group. I got to get up to my group." Nope. You should already be with your group. Stopping for a Mickey bar or even using the bathroom is not a skip the line free card. And if you're the kind of person that's just making it up so you can see how far up front you can get, well, you're the biggest jerk of them all. And you probably do these other 4 things too. Number 2, put your phone away. So I remember this one time I was getting ready to ride Expedition Everest, and I was excited because it was the first time I'd ever gotten to ride it at night. And so as we're pulling away from the station, the lady in front of me, who's mid-20s, pulls out her cell phone, holds it up, and with the rear-facing flashlight on, begins to take a selfie video. And I'm thinking, all right, she's going to turn that off once we get to the lift hill. But she didn't. She never turned it off for the entire ride, a ride which would have otherwise been in the dark. Now, a couple of things on this. Number 1, I didn't stand in line for this ride to be distracted by your cell phone screen and your flashlight in my face. Number 2, I shouldn't be the one at risk of losing my teeth when you lose your grip on your cell phone. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not going to drop my phone. That's dumb. Well, look in the news. It happens every day. I mean, that's why Universal Studios puts all of your loose articles into a locker before you get on the Incredible Hulk or Rip Ride Rocket. Now, I'm not a fan of that, but I get it. Plus, there's just something to be said for enjoying the experience that you're there to have. I mean, if you want to see an on-ride video, there's dozens of them on YouTube for every ride. And if you want to see yourself, I don't know, buy PhotoPass. But when you refuse to acknowledge how what you're doing is impacting someone else's experience, or better yet, their safety, well, that makes you a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Number 3, no stopping, please. Okay, so you know how people will stop their cars in the middle of a roadway if they need to figure out where they're going or if they need to talk to the other people in the car? Oh, right, people don't do that. Neither should you. I mean, just because you're not in a car doesn't mean you're not causing a traffic jam if you just stop in the middle of a busy walkway. And this happens all the time. Sometimes it's one or two people. Sometimes it's a whole tour group, and you have to make a decision. Am I going to knock them down, or am I going to knock down the people around them? Listen, if you have to stop and figure out how to get somewhere or find the nearest bathroom, that's fine. Just pull over to the side of the walkway and do it there. Stopping in the middle is super inconsiderate to all of the other 3,000 people who are trying to get through the same place you are. Number 4, down in front. If you want to go see Happily Ever After or one of the other nighttime parades or shows that are so popular around the parks, you're going to have to get there early. A lot of people plop themselves down 60 to 90 minutes before the event starts, and seasonally it could be even longer than that. And it's worth it for some people. They really enjoy getting to watch those shows or the fireworks or whatever it might be. Where you get shortchanged, though, is when the 6'4" dad in front of you, right as the show is starting, picks up his child and hoists the child onto his shoulders. Now, I get why he's doing that. He wants his kid to be able to see well, and that's great. But what you've also done is made sure that all of the other kids who have been standing behind you for an hour and a half can't see, and that's not great. Believe it or not, there is a way to hold your child so that they can see and not impact the people behind them. Just pick them up and hold them at eye level with you so that you can see, they can see, and the people behind you can see. Otherwise, they're just going to see what a jerk you are. Number 5, make room for others. Now, the last thing on our list of how not to be a jerk is the one that bothers me the most, and it's in the most crowded place in the park, the monorail. It's estimated that over 150,000 people ride the monorail every day at Walt Disney World. That's roughly the population of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And all of these Chattanoogans and a few other people, I guess, all get on the train thinking the same thing. I cannot wait to sit down. The problem is, there's probably not enough room for everybody to sit in your car. And that's where we see a very intentional rudeness beginning to show up. Now, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I don't believe this to be a first-come, first-served scenario. Just because you got there first doesn't mean you should stay there. I believe that there are people who should stand and offer their seats to others. And for example, I've taught my boys we will always be the last people to sit down on the monorail or in the resort shuttle. It's just the way that we choose to show kindness to other people. But it's especially true in the case of the elderly who need it, and in the case of women who we choose to honor by it. And I know that just saying that, like some of you just recoiled, men and women alike, and you don't like it, and that's fine. You can operate out of whatever worldview you choose. And similarly, anybody who doesn't want a seat that I offer them is free to not take it. But what I'm primarily talking about is a very intentional rudeness that I see happening more and more, and it's often young men. In my most recent visits, I've seen the following list of people continue to stand while grown men continue to sit in their seats. Elderly women, elderly men, pregnant women, women holding infants, fathers holding sleeping toddlers, and people walking with crutches. First of all, if you can't spend a whole day at Disney World at your age without flopping onto your butt every 10 minutes, you probably need to see a physician, despite the confidence that you're showing in your sleeveless t-shirt. Second of all, wanting to sit there and giggle with your girlfriend isn't a good enough reason to let grandma hold onto the handrails. Never mind the fact that any girl worth her salt's going to notice that you just let Granny show herself the door at 35 miles an hour and 40 feet in the air. And finally, my boys are watching you. Now, I have no fear that they're going to imitate your actions or your terrible haircut, but it's not really fair to them, is it, for them to have to model politeness and kindness for you? I mean, think about it for a second. My son looks at you and he thinks if you've got a car and some actual money in your wallet, you must have the best life in the world. Imagine his frustration when he learns that you're kind of a punk and he's probably got a better chance with your girlfriend than you do. It's a tough one. Listen, none of these tips are meant to ruin your experience, and frankly, none of them will. I mean, if you're like most people that go to Walt Disney World, you want to have a good time and be around people that are having a good time. So do me a favor, and I'll do my best too. Remember to be considerate to those around you. Remember that you're not the only person here, and then maybe we can all just have a great time. You can go through the day not being a jerk, and we'll go through the day not even knowing you exist. It's a win-win. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give us a like, and if you're new here, subscribe and hit the notification icon. If you want to, leave a comment down below telling us about the jerky behavior that you've seen at Walt Disney World. Or maybe you just think I'm a jerk. That's okay, we can talk about that too. Until the next time, I'm Jacob, reminding you to gather your belongings, watch your head and step, and take all small children by the hand.